We'll be starting in just a couple minutes. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I think most people have already checked in, and I think we'll start the meeting. It is 6:34, and I call the meeting to order. I'd like to thank you for attending the meeting tonight. We're going to have two presenters for two different developments on the island, and we'll go to our agenda. The next slide, please. So I also wanted to let everybody know that on the island there's going to be the Stone Crab Festival this coming Sunday. Just a fun note for all of us to know and possibly attend if you can. Okay, next slide, please. Mike, can we go ahead and start with you with the Treasury?
That everybody is here tonight to listen to the Treasury report. Okay, so I'm going to try and go through this fairly quickly. In the Greater Pine Island money market, we have $16,764.50. Checking, we have $8,109.51. We have a CD. The CD is going to roll over again on December 3rd. It's currently $76,656.20. When it rolls over, it's currently at 4.3%, but the new CDs for 6 to 7 months are running at about 5%, so we may be able to get a little bit more money. The cash box, which is the money box out there in the front, is $103 at the beginning. There was a total of $63.23 that came in. $25 was in cash memberships, and then $38.23 was in credit card memberships. The money out total was $73.48. Of that, $33.48 was to the GoDaddy website upkeep. That's when you go on to GPICA.org. The woman that probably signed you in is the woman who upkeeps that and takes care of that and has all those great pieces of information on there. That has to be kept up, and so we have a company there called GoDaddy which takes care of that for us. And again, that was $33.48. The other $40 was for the safety deposit bags that we keep at the Truist Bank. And that's, for all of the old paperwork and stuff like that that we've kept over the years from the origin of the Greater Pine Island Civic Association. The Chiquita Lock Defense Fund, and Mike Hannon, I believe, is in the audience. There we go, right here. Mike, you may remember, came it's probably 8 months ago, and talked to us about, getting involved with the Chiquita Lock Fund. We did do that, and so the monies associated with that, the original pledge that we made was for $2,500. Then we got an additional $2,725 from members, and so then we matched that also, so that was 2725 that the GPICA matched, and we got one bill so far from the Chiquita Lock lawyers, and that was for $2,500. We are going to be getting another bill very shortly. Mike just let me know this evening, and that will probably use up much of the money that is remaining, which is $5,450. And Mike might come back sometime and talk to you about, what's going on with the Chiquita Lock Fund. But it sounds very promising. It sounds like it might be a win for Pine Island. Another thing that we have right down here at the very bottom, we had agreed to pay matching donations for all Chiquita Lock Fund donations by members. So we got 2 donations that were submitted by credit card rather than by cash. So for that, we basically were going to eat the cost of the difference. And that comes out to a whopping $6.33 that the Greater Pine Island is going to be paid. And that is the Treasury report. Any questions that you have in that brief summary?
Do I have a motion to accept the Treasury report? Thank you, sir. Do I have a second? Name, please. Irene, thank you. All in favor, aye? Any nays? No? Okay. Is anyone missing a bag? Okay, that's. Okay, motion carries. Thank you very much. So if I can go back one slide, the minutes of October 3rd's meeting was published online. I hope some of you were able to review those minutes because I will need a motion to accept the minutes as they were written. Thank you, Mike. Mike first. Do I have a second? Thank you, Nadine. All in favor to accept the minutes as written? Aye. Any nays? Thank you, motion carries. Okay, and now we're going to go to the Stone Crab, just one more. Let everyone know that it's the coming weekend. They're going to have music and other things before we get to our main speakers. So, next slide. So our first speaker is Derek, Dravik, thank you. Fred Dravik, and he is going to be discussing the Upper Captiva Carriage Club CPD, which is going to be at 901 Stringfellow Road. And it's right off of Maria Drive and Stringfellow. Thank you. Come on up. You can either use the microphone there or.
I'll do it here.
Okay.
Well, good evening, everybody. So my name is Fred Dravik. I work for RVI Planning and Landscape Architecture. So I've been in Southwest Florida doing planning since 2004. And so I take people through the entitlement process for Lee County, which in this case would be a commercial plan development zoning. So the second presenter is a review for the development order. This is much earlier than that. So this is the initial stage of zoning. So I have a conceptual plan. We don't have renderings and other things, but of course, in this case, it's more parking lot than it is renderings and buildings. So it won't be that hard, won't make it difficult to review. So we're in the initial stages of rezoning. That piece of property at the northwest corner of Stringfellow and Maria is 3.7 acres. The site plan that we'll go over in the development program and the request before the county is for up to a 5,000 square feet of commercial building area Right now, there's an existing 2,400 square foot pole building on there that will remain there, and there may be a small additional building, but we know that we're capped at 5,000 square feet with the Greater Pine Island Plan in the coastal rural future land use category, so we're going to stay under that. There'll be some low turnover 40-foot deep parking spaces for vehicles and boats with trailers that are using the Pine Island Marina, particularly during the weekend, so overflow storage for those boats. And then up to 75 spaces that will be the paved spaces for short and long-term parking that will serve partially customers of the Upper Captiva Carriage Club, which is kind of going to be a transport service in that kind of way. But it will provide short and long-term parking for people that live off island and need to, go to Upper Captiva. So they'll park there for a number of days or just a daily rate. And it'll be member parking, so the information will be gathered well. They'll know exactly who is parking there. So you'll have to provide a membership in order to park there. There's going to be limited access gate with a code in order to be using that site. So the control of who will be there will be well done. And and of course, if you have a zip code that's in this area, then there'll be a discount for the folks that live on island. If we go to the next slide with the aerial. So that's the site. You can see it's at that northwest corner. I'm sure most of you are very familiar with the location. So the next one. So these are the details that I'm asked for at the zoning level. So it's pretty high level stuff, but the future land use categories, coastal rural, the zoning right now is Ag 2. We are seeking a commercial rezoning to a commercial plan development. Commercial plan development is a custom zoning district for a particular piece of property. So with that, there'll be conditions, there'll be a site plan, and there'll be specific things that the either staff or the hearing examiner for Lee County or finally the Board of County Commissioners can impose on our zoning for approval. So there'll be a number of conditions that'll have to do with access and buffers and maximum floor area or square foot and floor area and maximum number of parking spaces. So by the time the approval's done, it will be for exactly what we intend to build. So in that way, it's a custom zoning district that you'll have pretty good knowledge of exactly what's going to happen by the time we're through the process. Next one. So this is just, again, the overview of the future land use and current zoning. This is just good information for you to have the PDF if you're interested in the details of those, but I mentioned those already. So now let's go to the site plan, which is the next one. So there are, I guess the easiest way to look at this is, well, there's 3 entrance points proposed. One primary one on Stringfellow that's toward the north side, north end of it. And the reason it was put there, it was the best balance in between intersection separation between Maria Drive and then driveway to the north. So, and that's a primary corridor, so we wanted one exit and entrance off of there. And then 2 off of Maria Drive that will have the entrances and they'll be the controlled access areas. The dark parking spaces on the southern part of the site are those short and long-term parking. So those are asphalt paved spaces, up to 75 there. The pole barn's in the middle. And then the longer spaces that are light and angled up above it would be for the overflow parking from the marina. Those are 40 feet long, 14 feet wide. We're proposing an alternative surface for those, hopefully reinforced grass, that we think fit better within the rural character. But ultimately that'll be up to Lee County to decide to that, or we have to do shell, or what kind of alternative surface they would allow for us there. We're either meeting the buffers that are required under the plan, the Greater Pine Island Plan, with the enhanced buffers along Stringfellow and Maria, 25 feet, and they're pretty elaborate, pretty nice buffers. We're also proposing 30-foot buffer along the west boundary with the single-family house. And the one to the north doesn't require a buffer. We are going to put a buffer there anyway. So the goal is for nobody to really see necessarily what's going on in there, because it's just parking. So we want to buffer it and make this look beautiful and green so you pass by.
Could you please speak up and enunciate a little? I can understand about half of the words.
Sure. So the buffers, we are either going to meet or exceed the need so that our goal is to have a continuous visual screening with a large number of trees and make it look as good as it can from the road, so you don't really see a whole lot. In fact, because of the trailer storage, they call that outdoor storage in Lee County, we're going to be required to have a continuous visual screening from the road and from abutting residential properties. So we prefer it to be heavily just vegetated and green. The Lee County Code sometimes asks for fencing and some other things, and we're going to have a meeting with Lee County on November 28th to discuss that with them and figure out what's the best solution for that. But we want it to fit in with the rural character here and look as good as we possibly can make it with rich vegetation. So really that's the main oversight. We're limited on some things because of the Greater Pine Island Plan. Can't have more than 5,000 square feet of commercial of building area. We aren't going to build anything that's elaborate, nothing that's tall. They're just going to be more of a pole barns but meet the land development code standards. And then the rest of it's parking. Lighting will probably be a concern. We're going to meet code. We're going to do code minimums and not code minimums, and we're going to try to get away with as little as we have to. Meaning code minimum, we don't want to overlight this. So our only concern is just safety for some of the vehicles that be parked there overnight, but we don't want to light this more than we absolutely have to be required to by Lee County. And we want to keep the lights low, we want to keep them shielded, all the other things that are required to do. That is our goal as well. We want this to be kind of as invisible as it can be, but still service, a busy marina, provide spaces for people to park trailers, boats, that use that, and people that go to the Upper Captiva as a use. So that's my summary of that. Where we are now, the last slide. So we submitted to Lee County a little over a month ago. Lee County completed the first review. If you're familiar with Lee County process, we submit, they tell us what we didn't put in the application, and then they give us a big long letter that says, add these things. So they called us insufficient on 1025. We're working through responses to that, and that includes a meeting with Lee County on November 28th to go through and walk through all the details. So we'll probably respond by the end of this month. They'll review it a second time. They may even review it a third time. So my guess is that we would have our first public hearing with the hearing examiner in March of 2024, which then you could all come and see the final details and comment on the record. And then we would go to the Board of County Commissioners most likely by June of 2024, which again, if you speak at the HEX, you can come to the board and speak then. That still won't be the last time you would ever see this project and be able to comment, because we have to come back here for the development order. So once they move to the development order stage, then we'd be coming in with engineered plans and presenting to you one last time before we would get an approved development order and go to construction. So there I am. So that's my overview. We have Tyler and Chuck Wainwright here that are the owners of the property. They, with the business they want to create there, if there's some details about some operating things, they'll be able to answer those as well. And so, all right, I'll take questions now.
Okay, if anyone has a question, you're welcome to come up. Please speak into the microphone so those that are watching online will be able to hear it. If you can say your name.
My name is Mike Sweeney. My question there were a few questions, but the first one was, will there be overnight security for the cars that are parked there? Is that a plan for right now, or Yeah, you will,
So
okay.
that, yeah, that is a plan.
So it's going to be a 24-hour facility?
Gentlemen, could you come up and speak into the microphone so people can hear your responses as well? Thank you.
Hey, so good evening, everybody. My name is Tyler Wainwright, so I'll be representing the Protect Eva Carriage Club tonight. If you're asking about security 24 hours, you're talking about manned security? Manned security. No, sir, we won't have manned security on site. Yes, sir, there'll be video cameras on site and there'll be access controlled gates, but there won't be manned security.
I have another question here, and this is regarding the option for marina employees. Can they park there also? I know that had been talked about at an earlier juncture with this project, that there was limited parking, I think, for people working in the marina, and that was talked about as a possible. Is that still on the table, or?
I'm going to use this one, so I'll pass it back and forth. Yes, sir. So our intent would be to allow for parking for marina employees as well.
Thank you. My name is Paul Carlisle. We live in Bokeelia. Just a little history. I've spent 32 years in municipal government as a city manager and a county manager and reviewed numerous plans. So I'm not commenting on your site plan. There's some things that I would look a little different. My concern is when you say up to, I would hope that you would solidify all that in the PUD. A PUD, a plan unit of development, usually provides for public, it's a zoning category that allows you to have public, to provide some public amenities along with the private amenities so that the public sees some benefit in the added density or the added development and those things that the property owner is more than welcome to make money off of, but it's a impact to the community. So there's public benefit should be allowed in that process. So I see you're going to try to do that. What I have concerns over when they say up to 40, that could be 1 or that could be 40. What I've always done in PUDs is we've always included their comments and their presentations in the minutes of the meeting and their binding. And I would also recommend that you talk to your county commissioners, and if you get this solidified, that it becomes a resolution that's recorded that runs with the land. What I've seen happen, not saying with you, I'm just saying I've seen happen is these PUDs talk about all the things they're gonna do, and then when they get done, next thing you know, there's no public parking. It's all RV storage or boat storage, and it doesn't allow for public parking. So those you need to talk to your county commissioners and your planning and zoning staff about, that they solidify that so that if down the road they want to change it from public parking, they have to go back to the county commission to do so. And I know that the intent's always there, but when the money doesn't flow, there's always a change. There could be a change in that. So just be cognizant of that. Those are the things that we're going to be concerned about, is that what you present is what actually gets built. I'm not saying it won't be, but that's just my comments. But thank you.
Yeah, our request is specific, like you're mentioning. So we're asking for 40 of the larger spaces that would be for the trailer boat, 75 of the short to long-term paved parking spaces, and a specific schedule of uses that are limited to just the uses that we're describing. So by the end, by the end, it will be exactly what you're saying, a very specific use of list of uses and total. So I say up to, because that's just my language I'm used to. We always work in what's the maximum that can be put in the resolution, and so it's 40 and 75. So it's 115 spaces total, 5,000 square feet of commercial. Yeah.
If the spaces are all
Okay.
used up,
And I need you to actually speak into a microphone so those online can,
they do a lottery or something?
could you please repeat that?
If the spaces that you said that could be open for people, let's say they're all filled, then does that go on a lottery system then, that you'd be able to get involved in it, to be part of it? Because if all the spaces are filled pretty much immediately, then how do other people get into it? Is there could it be a lottery or what?
So are you talking about specifically the car parking or the boat trailer parking?
Both.
Both? So there's going to be both public parking that's available for public entry, and there's going to be parking for membership-based parking. So it would be for both. And the public will be on first come, first serve. There's a reservation system that's intended to be online that you would go and make a reservation for a weekend or for a day or whatever, that would be first come, first serve. And then the membership parking would be a paid annual membership. That's more intended for the outer barrier island parking for the short and long term. Yes, sir. So there's an online system that you would go and book your parking space for the weekend. That's the intent.
Okay, all right, that was my question.
Need-
Sue DeHode, Bokeelia. I have two questions. One is, why the entrance off of Stringfellow plus 2 off of Maria? It seems, I'm just curious.
The intent of providing the one off of Stringfellow in addition to the one off of Maria is specifically for the boat trailer parking, which is for ease of access through the site. Trying to make turn radiuses for both boat trailers and for emergency services. It's kind of tight to fit all into one without the additional access. So part of it's traffic flow, and then part of it's just for ease of access.
Okay, and the other question is there going to be a shuttle? Because it's a long way to the marina from there.
Yes, ma'am. The intent is to have a shuttle. The exact specific about times and number of trips per day the shuttle would provide hasn't been coordinated or decided yet, but the intent is to have a shuttle. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I just want to speak on behalf of the residents of this island. I've been a resident for 20 years, and I've been using that ramp since it was purchased by the county for $17 million from some private owners. Are you planning to add additional boat ramps at the end of Maria Drive for launching purposes?
No, sir. The property that we own and are planning on developing is just that one property there, Maria and Stringfellow. So we wouldn't have any intent to do anything down there.
Right. Okay. So if this plan goes through, it will create a huge problem at that boat ramp. There's not enough capacity for all these parking spaces that you've projected and all these people to be going down Maria Drive using one boat launch ramp, which can only handle 2 boats at a time. There are several commercial slips available there that the county has, and they are available for commercial people. They each have their own parking. But that ramp does not have the capacity for this project, and it would cause huge bottlenecks for people trying to launch boats at that ramp. I just want to point that out. It is one boat launch ramp with the capacity of 2 boats. That's it. And it is just a bottleneck as it is right now in season. And if you allow all these additional people to come in here and go up and down Maria Drive and disturb the residents there and use that ramp, it's going to create huge bottlenecks. So just pointing that out as a person that actually uses that ramp for the past 17 years. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Janet Spar. I was just curious about the entrance on Stringfellow. You have gated entrances, you said, on Maria. Is that also a gate there? Because if people have to stop with their long boat trailer to get out and do the gate, that's going to back up traffic on Stringfellow.
Yes, ma'am. So the intent is to also have an access control gate there on Stringfellow. Our intention would be to offset it 60 feet roughly off of Stringfellow, so you'd be able to pull in without blocking any traffic on Stringfellow with the boat trailer. So there would be a area to pull off before you would get to the gate.
I don't see how there's room because there's that. Isn't there a drainage ditch there? I guess you'd put in a culvert.
Yes, ma'am. We'd put a culvert across the driveway.
Hello, my name is Rusty Simeone, St. James City. You had a slide up there earlier about the current zoning. I didn't get a chance to read it. What is the current zoning of that property?
It's Ag 2 right now.
I'm sorry?
It's Ag 2.
Two questions. Steve Eldridge, and I'm from Bokeelia. Can you address the deficiencies that you spoke about when Lee County responded back to you?
Yeah, so the process is that we provide the proposed rezone to the county. County reviews that and provides comments on the submittal. They provided, I don't know the exact number, don't quote me on this, but they provided comments on things like the buffers. They provided comments on the screening. They asked if we plan to provide either a wall or a green screening. Our intent is we'd like to stick with the rural culture and provide a green screen instead of a concrete wall around the facility. They asked questions about the intended uses. So there, you have to provide them a list of intended uses for the facility. So many of their comments were regarding those and what the intended uses with the parcel were. But it's actually public record, and you can do a request for the letter if you'd like to look it up. We can give you that information.
And then my second question, does the county require you to do any work in terms of traffic flow?
Yes, sir. So there is part of the requirement is we have to provide something called a traffic impact statement, which analyzes the proposed traffic into our facility. And a traffic impact statement basically says that there either will or will not be an impact to the adjacent roads. If you do show there's an impact, you're required to make improvements to them. If you do not show an impact, then that's the goal, to move forward with the facility.
Okay, and that's been done or not been done yet?
Yes, sir. The traffic impact statement has been completed.
Okay, and provided to the county?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thanks.
I have a second question. Did you do a wildlife study for that area of land?
Yes, ma'am. We did. Part of the requirement is we have to do an environmental species survey for the property, and that was completed. I know your next question. There are 2 gopher tortoise burrows. One is potentially active and one is active. And our intent is to mitigate those on site. What was that? Our intent is to mitigate those burrows for the proposed project.
What does that mean on site?
It basically means you relocate the turtles to a turtle recipient site. Tortoise, sorry, not turtle, tortoise.
Are you going to have any kind of trash collection? I know there's a site at the commercial marina for off-island trash. Is anything like that going to be occurring at your proposed site?
No, ma'am. We don't want to be in the garbage business.
Okay, after this, Jim.
Just a quick question. So I just want to clarify, the boat ramp at the end of Maria Drive is for 1 boat, not 2 boats. I just want to clarify that. So with you guys putting all this in, you agree and admit that there's a lot, it's a busy marina, so we need more room for more trailers. But now we're going to bring all those people, shuttle them down there. The people, I think there's 12 boat trailer spots now for the county that people pay for. So is there any compensation that the county is losing by you bringing people in there because they're not paying them to park?
I'm not sure I entirely followed your question. I'm sorry. Are you asking if we're... Can you repeat that? I'm sorry, I didn't quite
I just feel
comprehend.
like the county, because we're congesting that ramp more with more people, right? With going in, dropping their boats, coming up, parking, and then a shuttle bringing them. Wouldn't the county be missing out on those fees of dropping their boats?
I think, in my opinion at least...
I'm not saying it is or it isn't, I'm just looking for clarification.
No, so the intent is to provide parking for existing users of the boat ramp. I think what you're going to find is with the way that the marina was redeveloped, there's significantly less parking than there was previously. So part of this project is to alleviate some of those issues that have come up now with additional fire traffic lanes and stuff like that that have been constructed at the marina. And to your question about basically are we costing the county revenue by building this facility?
If that's how you want to look at it, I'm just looking for clarification with the boat ramp fees.
My understanding is you have to pay the fee to use the ramp regardless.
Okay,
So I don't think it brings any impact there.
okay. There was one other question. It'll come to me. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I have a question regarding the CPD. The CPD has a set amount of lighting looms or whatever they're called. One of the problems that we have found with Publix is that it's like a candle that lights up the whole area at night, and we have we have bats, we have a lot of wildlife around that's active at night, and the light will disturb them. So with the CPD, how are you going to ensure that, yes, I know the county has legal requirements, but yet you're building right in the middle of a residential area that does have ag, but it's, there's right one street down is residentials. How are you going to keep the lighting from illuminating the whole island, kind of like what public has to do because of the CPD?
Sure. So we have to develop a lighting plan for this parcel as part of the development order, which is basically the next stage of this project. Our intent is to use lower height poles than what you would typically see at public. So we like to use 15-foot instead of 25-foot poles. But there is a minimum requirement of how much lighting we do have to provide because it is a public area. So we do have to provide a minimum luminescence over the site, but our intent is to use lower height poles and provide screening on the surrounding of the property.
And originally, I didn't think this was going to be used as a 24 hours a day facility. I thought it was just during like daytimes or have set hours of processing, so that this is a 24-hour facility.
So it's 24 hours in the sense of there's long-term parking provided for Barrier Island residents. So their cars would be stored 24 hours. They'll probably be for multiple day or week parking. So
But
this is
the access time.
the access time. Yes, ma'am. It would be 24 hours. Yes.
Okay.
Just correct. So just for the member parking for the off-island residents. So
So
the
the-
boat trailer parking would not be 24.
So that means lighting for 24 hours.
Yes, ma'am. That's correct.
And then I read on it that there could be a repair facility. Is that correct?
That's currently as part of the proposed uses. That's something that we're discussing with Lee County to see if we want to continue with that proposed use. That would be more for that's something that we're discussing with the county to see if that's continued use, but that's currently in the package, yes, ma'am.
And the reason for the repair facility there is why? Because it's going to, if it's a storing facility, it's storing, or is it going to be a repair facility? Is it going to be both? And why would you have a repair facility there when?
So the only intent of the repair facility is the company owns a barge that we operate that runs back and forth to Upper Captiva. So it would just be for our use to work on that barge if the barge is down and we need to provide maintenance to it instead of hauling it off-site. That's really the only intent as of right now.
As of right now.
It's not a retail, that was one of the questions that the county provided was, is there a retail repair facility? And the answer to that is no. So that would be one of the conditions that we're discussing with Lee County to limit is basically the use of a repair facility would just be for the barge that we own currently.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Allison. I just have a quick question about the 5,000 square foot commercial space and its intended usage. You did mention the repair facility, but is the intention to keep the current pole barn as you mentioned, or what is the intention for 5,000 square feet commercial?
Yes, ma'am. So the intent would be to keep that existing pole barn. Right now, that pole barn is basically just covered storage. So that would be office space and covered parking, covered storage. For the pole barn would stay, and then there would be a potential to add one more smaller building, approximately 2,000 square feet.
You just mentioned office space, so I know it's a pole barn now, but can you clarify that if the development order gets passed, then you have the ability to build 5,000 square foot commercial?
No, ma'am. The intent is to keep the existing 2,400, and there would be the potential to add one more smaller building for a total aggregate of 5,000. So we are going to have, like we mentioned earlier, a shuttle service that would run from that facility down to the marina. So, you know, there's going to be an office for someone that runs a shuttle there, probably, that type of use.
Okay, any other intended usage, bathroom facilities? You mentioned, again, office space to check people in. Like, I'm trying
Yes,
to
ma'am.
understand the impact of the commercial building itself beyond the parking.
Sure. So there would be an office there to check people in for if you were going to get on the shuttle and hop down to the marina. There will be a bathroom there as well for, you know, if you're waiting on the shuttle and need to use the bathroom. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, Nadine's coming around with a.
I'll hand you mine.
Is there going to be a limit on the number of days or hours that people can reserve the space for? If somebody decides they want to reserve it, do they have to do it on a daily basis, or can they reserve it for 30 days and then that parking place is done for 30 days?
So to be honest, the economics of the reservation system really haven't been worked out to that level of detail. Our intent is to not let somebody lock up a boat trailer space for 30 days. No, that's really not the intent. The intent is to have them open and for different people to cycle in and out of. Yes, ma'am.
Alice Berner, I live on Maria Drive right now. North Captiva over at the industrial park is where people get in their cars, get on the shuttles, come down our street. Is this going to be over and above? Are they keeping that in, at the industrial park? Is that a separate entity, the North Captiva Club? And yours is going to be separate from that, so it'll be people coming from there and your spot will be a different shuttle? Or is it all the same company and they're just going to combine at the end of our street?
It's a different company.
So it'll be two separate companies, so they'll still be parking in at the industrial park and coming down on the North Captiva shuttle buses, and then you'll have separate shuttles to bring people down, correct?
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
Okay.
So,
Hold on one moment, guys. We got a little bit more clarification on that part.
As far as the shuttle and how people are going to go back and forth, there's a number of different options for that. You can do an Uber. You can throw your bicycle in the back of a pickup truck. You can take your electric skateboard with you. There's all kinds of options for that. What we see nowadays is I see a truck pulling a family full in a boat going down the road. They drop them in the water, and then the empty trailer comes back. Later in the day, the same boat and trailer go by, and they go pick up the family, and they return home. We see this over and over and over. So it was kind of a no-brainer to me. Why don't we just kind of shorten the route for everybody, give them more opportunity? When the new when the arena opens back up on Saturday, you'll see there's only 12 parking spaces available now. Because they put in the fire lane, all those slips that were available in front of the wet leases, those have all been removed now. So there's going to be significantly less parking. And there's only Lavender's Landing is the only other public one available. So
that's what we offer parking also at the commercial area. So I work for the Island Club at North Captiva. So I just have a quick question. Are you guys going to be doing ferry services?
are we going to do what?
Ferry services.
Not really. We just have just our little six-pack barge that runs back and forth, mostly carrying like cargo, Amazon,
Okay, because
FedEx.
I saw online where it said ferry services also. So you're not planning to do ferry services to North Captiva? But you are? Okay, so that's not a...
We already have a slip there.
You already have a... I mean, but do you have a ferry? Okay. And what a barge? What is the barge going to be taking? I mean, you said you're not in the garbage business. I understand that, but I just want to know.
I think we could have this conversation separately, but specifically for tonight, I think the barge is separate from the rezone of the property that we're discussing, so we'd really like to focus on just the rezone of this property tonight.
Okay. So I just wanted to see what the intent was with the parking, because we offer public parking. We don't, we charge to anyone that's going to use the ferry service, and anyone that's going to go for the day, they're free to park there, and they also have trailer parking. So I just wanted to see everything that you said that you're trying to provide. We're already providing. We already provide the ferry. We already provide barging services and everything. So I was trying to see if you were adding anything additional that was going to benefit the community. So I was just trying to see what you were doing. Thank you.
Sure, so we're offering boat trailer parking to the community, to the public, and we're offering long and short-term storage of vehicles to the island residents. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, Julie Roppers, Bokeelia. So what you're proposing is taking an agricultural land and turning it commercial.
Yes, ma'am, the proposal is to change the zoning of the existing ag to a
Change zoning
CPD.
from our prized agricultural to a parking lot. And then you say you have a barge, we'll talk about the barge, but the barge, where is it gonna, this is called the Upper Captiva Carriage Company. Where do you plan to moor this barge in Upper Captiva? Do you have a mooring spot secured for that yet?
So the barge that you're referring to has a wet slip in the Pine Island Marina.
Okay.
And that is its home.
At the commercial on Maria?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, but that's its home slip here in Pine Island. Where's its home slip in Upper Captiva? Because no one's ever heard of you. In Upper Captiva,
Sure.
no one's heard of you. your company? No one's heard of this Upper Captiva Carriage Company.
Yes, ma'am. So it is a new development, which is why we are here today to rezone the property. That's the first step of the process to begin. So in regards to your question about the barge, there are multiple locations to moor the barge for day trips to the island, but its overnight berth is at the commercial marina.
Okay.
I know that your facility at the end of Maria that you propose to build is 24-hour access. The people who can't get the first 12 boat trailer spots at the county, will they have 24-hour access to get into the marina if they park at your place?
I mean, the facility that we're proposing does not propose any changes to the access to the marina. I'll be honest with you, I don't know the marina hours offhand, so I don't know how the access gets into that.
Okay. I just didn't know if they had access when a gate opens like it normally does on weekends and observed holidays. I just want to make sure it does clarify if they could get in there 24 hours a day, but you're saying no.
Into the marina? No, sir.
Yes.
No changes at all would be proposed to the marina as part of this project.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Okay. I think we're going to close the question section of this particular. I would like to thank everybody for participating. We're going to now go to our second presenter, Famsland, if I have it correctly. The presenter is going to be Dean Martin. The location is at 11010 Stringfellow Road. It's kind of, if I remember correctly, just after Birdcage, a bird song. And so I would thank you. Okay. All right, we're going to switch over to your presentation. Yep, there we go.
Good evening. I'm Dean Martin with TDM Consulting, and your name is?
Lauren Dame.
One of the ownership group to answer questions, and we have a few more in the back. As she said, that project is at 11010 Stringfellow Road. It's on the screen. It's very wooded, as you can see from the screen, and we plan on developing, at least initially, plan on developing it as residential. There will be some a commercial component along the front, which is already zoned for that. If you can switch to the slide. Project description, you guys can read this too, but I'll read it. Property owner is requesting to plat the almost 20-acre parcel for mixed-use development of commercial and single-family lots, and there's also some duplex lots in the back. We've already submitted it to Lee County for plat and development order, and also to Water Management District for a environmental resources permit. We've received some comments back, and one of the comments was to come here and get your all's feedback. So we're here to answer questions and make a presentation. Next slide. This shows the site plan. As you can see, it's a single entrance off of Stringfellow Road, and the front part, as I said before, was our commercial out parcels. We don't plan on developing those. They're going to be for sale, I would assume. We plan on developing just the road coming in, and you see on the east side, there's a circular drive around the lots, and in the middle there's a lake for water management reasons. There's several lots that are duplex only, and several lots that are also single family, and I'll get into that more on the next slide. As mentioned, we are draining everything to the middle of the site into a nice large lake. The frontage road and the road around the parcel there will have roadside swales, so it'll be a rural cross section. It won't be curb and gutter, which is more urban. So we plan on leaving it with roadside swales, which helps with our nutrient uptake and things like that, which is important for pollution control. Next slide. Utilities will be brought in. The potable water is across the street on Stringfellow, so we plan on tying into that and bringing in water, potable water with fire hydrants. And we're going to stub a fire line to each of the commercial out parcels. For sewer, there's not anything nearby, so we're doing a pump station and taking it south to a force main about 1,000 feet south to tie in. And we're providing stubs for the commercial out parcels and sizing the lift station to handle that flow. Next slide. Everyone worries about traffic, but in this case, the traffic generated by the lots don't really trigger any kind of turn lane, but the county will make us, once we sell the parcels, the out parcels in the front, and whoever buys them and develops them as commercial projects will have to reanalyze the traffic and potentially build turn lanes on Stringfellow. Next slide. That's it.
Really, I'm here just to kind of put a personal touch. I came here a couple years ago from Washington State. Worked with Boeing Aeronautical Engineering for about 35 years and became involved with the community. Just recently stepped down from the school board presidency at the Good Shepherd Lutheran Church and School, where I provided my leadership there. Also, mainly just was free help, because it's not a paid position, but I also do, now currently just mainly do volunteer work. But when Stephen asked me to help him with this project, I looked it over and I was really surprised at the scope of the project and what it can bring to this community. If you look at bringing something to a community, you think about, what does that mean? What I think about is family. And family is really what this is all about. Yes, it's a large Vietnamese community that would love to be part of this community, and they're just really hardworking people. This is not a huge a corporation that's trying to develop. These are just hardworking people that want to develop. They want to come here, and this really kind of is reminiscent of Vietnam in a lot of ways. The temperatures, the surroundings are very similar, so it's a like type scenario for them, and it fits them very well. So all I can tell you is they would be a welcomed addition to this community.
Nadine's coming around with a microphone.
Can you bring the slide back up that shows the site plan? Thanks.
Mike Sweeney, Bokeelia. I'm interested in hearing more about these Vietnamese people that are, where are they coming from?
It's from the north, the south. Some of them came here in 1975 from Vung Tau Bay. They were given refugee status literally picked up by the Navy, and the United States literally opened their arms and gave these people a place to come, and they're just an incredible hardworking people. They now have established homes in Minnesota, Boston, Washington State. They come from Denver. They're Americans just like me and you. That's what I know.
And they're all willing to move to this new community? How do they know about it even?
Well, if you start thinking about Lavang right down here, and then you start looking around, there's quite a bit of Vietnamese community already here. So you're seeing that if you look at this being a red state, they like the politics. When it comes down to the politics of this area, they bleed red, white, and blue. That I guarantee you.
A couple questions. One is, are these rental or owner occupied?
I think you're going to. I think from my understanding is some of this will be your vacation homes. Matter of fact, I think the 37 units is that I'm looking at will probably be mostly vacation homes.
Airbnb?
No, I don't see Airbnb. This is not this. These are homes that they want to, come into. If they do Airbnb, then it's going to be difficult for them to come and occupy their own home.
So it's going to be owner occupied?
Yes, that's.
Duplexes are going to be rentals?
I would think that is probably yes.
And so here's the problem: is that's a pretty strict, pretty tight density you're asking for, contrary to what we have on this island. And that's a lot of density. And I love the traffic studies. I told Larry Kiker from Charlotte County when we used to do our economic development, we had 9 counties that we would meet together and we talk about the problems. And Larry says to me, he goes, "We got a problem. We're $600 million backwards in our travel." And I said, "Larry, I don't care, because you've never had a development that you've approved that ever had an traffic impact study. Every development I've ever seen, I've been doing this for 32 years, every development I've ever seen basically always says there's no impact to development." I looked at that real closely, and the one slide that I could catch, it was, you have 32 units, 37 units maybe, and it's 8 trips generated. Can you explain to me that the peak generation's only 8 trips out of 37 units? These people aren't going to work, the rentals aren't going to work. So the traffic impact study sometimes is skewed depending on how you present it and the metrics that you use. So your peak traffic is not going to be 8 units in, 8 cars in, 8 cars out. Everybody's a 2-car family, rental cars. So your traffic study is, to me, I had this happen in Sebastian where I just left as a city manager. 208 units, and they had a 23 traffic generation on rental apartments. So.
And I can really recognize your pain.
Well, it's not my pain; it's
no,
the island's pain.
No, I've seen the traffic, and I've seen the lineup of cars, and I rode out this hurricane, and being here for part of that and seeing the incredible impact the hurricane had on this community and how the community came together. I remember the next day I was out with, helping families out here with just getting their roofs put together, to standing up their trees that they're trying to save. And I can tell you that as far as the traffic, yeah, that's a real concern. I know that people figure out a way, though. They figure out a way, and I'll be honest with you, I can't answer the big question about how big of impact it is. I just don't know that, to be honest with you.
So I don't want to monopolize the time, but there's a lot of important things we need to realize. Is once you open that density door on this island, you're not going to shut it, because I'm going to tell you right now, King Ranch. King Ranch, when they bought the property on the other side of us, we've been here since 2007. When they bought that property behind us, it was 1 unit per acre, and they sued the county. When they bought it, it was 1 unit per acre. They sued the county, got 2.7 units to acre under this, and a $100 million lawsuit settlement, and then they sold the land. Here's the problem with that, because get too deep in the woods, just tell me to shut up. The Byrd-Harris Act was designed to provide for misuse of government, changing zoning on land to take away a land use right. The judges in this state have changed the Byrd-Harris Act into an act of entitlement. King Ranch was able to sue the county and win because of the Byrd-Harris Act, because they had given density to other properties adjacent to it. So the judge ruled they were entitled to the same density around, and they negotiated a lower density. When they were doing Burnt Store Road during the peak of the 2007, 2006, they did an evaluation on property. When the market crashed, the judge said, "No, Lee County, you're going to pay that value when the market was high." We're in a very bad situation in this country where land rights get adopted and not to the benefit of the community. And so we've got to be careful. And when we talk to our legislators, we've got to be careful with this. This is a density that exceeds the density in most of the island, and it's going to be a challenge to shut that door if this goes through. That's all I have to say.
All right, to be clear, we're not increasing the density. We're not asking for any density increases. We're already zoned for what we're asking for. So we're getting a development order to build what we're allowed to build by right.
When was that density provided? Because what I understand is only 2.7 units per acre under the Pine Island plan now, as of 2005.
And that's what we're asking for.
You should be on mic for what you're saying. That should be on record what you're saying.
Okay, I want to make some comments as well. I live on Birdsong Lane, and I've been here for 20 years. I survived a hurricane. I watched the water flow. Friends of mine have lost houses. I did not lose my house because the sheet flow comes off of Stringfellow Road and goes down Birdsong Lane towards the Publix development, which shouldn't have happened, by the way. So all that got excavated, and all that water that's settling there, you're going to have to build this property up probably 6-8 feet. And the impervious surfaces that you're going to create by putting 39 houses there on virgin property is going to cause additional flooding for all the residents in the center of this island. And as was eloquently pointed out just a minute ago, we cannot handle that sort of density, the traffic situation, the evacuation problems that we've had. I have watched people being unable to get out of their houses during the hurricane. We're still rebuilding the Mountain Shea Pass. It is just uncalled for to take 19.52 acres and develop it in this sort of dense way. Thank you. Are you planning on putting septic systems for all these houses? You said you're going to tie into the municipal sewage system?
Every house will be tied to a public system. There's no
Okay,
septic.
so there's one public system here, and that
Correct.
system is by the library. Have you checked on the capacity of that system and what it would cost? The county's going to charge you to hook into that system.
We have not received permits from the county utilities yet.
Okay,
We're
that's a
working
big
that.
obstacle as well, too, because I know people that have built restaurants and such, and they've got hit with $250,000 access charges to put all that additional sewage into our sewage system, which is then dumped into our limited capacity sewage system. So this is big problems. This is no benefit to anybody here. No benefit. None. If you want housing, there's a development that's been already approved. I would suggest you contact Power Corporation of Naples, who built the Publix, and that land is cleared. It should have never been cleared. 47 acres, wiped out. All the native habitat that you're going to destroy here for no productive purpose, frankly, for the residents of this island. Contact Power Corporation and put some housing there. It's approved, it's platted, the land is empty, there's nothing there but weeds right now. This doesn't benefit anybody on this island.
Can you explain how this comports with the Pine Island plan?
I'm an engineer, not a planner.
So can you explain where the difference between 36, 38 units per 20 acres versus the 1.7? 2.7. One house per 2.7 acres. Where does that discrepancy get resolved?
I didn't bring the plans in front of me.
We need you on mic.
And they allow 6 per acre. So under the guise of urban community, in this case, what I'm looking at is the KOA campground. Dan Kalinowski. It looks to me like the KOA campground plat, to be honest with you. No disrespect in any way, but it's worse than zero lot line for those units, the way you've divided that plat. One whole half for 36 units.
Hi, Allison. I'm a resident of Vokelia. I'm very interested in knowing what the current status of the second residential. I understand it's RM2, is that correct, for manufactured? And I want to understand what is being built on those single plots versus the duplexes. Can you clarify that? I would like to hear from the engineer.
I'm not aware of the actual planning part of it, as far as how they develop the plots.
So can you clarify what the current zoning is? Is it am I understanding it correct, it'd be manufactured homes or single-family homes? Because if you're doing the order, you'd have to explain the intended usage to the county.
No, these will not be manufactured homes.
They'd be single-family homes? And they would be duplexes or single-family?
Yes.
Okay. My other question is, again, yeah, that is a good question too. I was going to ask that, is that, as I understand it, the money raised for this community amongst your investors, were they already pre-sold, or is there opportunity from anybody from this community to purchase or rent? We have a large housing issue on this island due to the hurricane, where people who are born, raised on this island do not have the opportunity to live here, and we have a lot of outside investors, it looks like, coming in, purchasing these homes for their vacation rentals, so that's also super concerning.
I believe in this situation, they have an ownership group that has intentions of living on the properties, but I do believe there will be available spaces for sale to the community, if I'm not mistaken. If somebody can more answer that. I wish Stephen was here. He couldn't be here. He works as a pharmacist back in Boston, so I wish I had more answers to the question, but I do believe that there will be duplexes for sale, yes.
Yeah, a question. You just referenced the term ownership group. You initially stated out a complete overview of the Vietnamese, which I'm familiar with. I've had several of them I've known well. My question to you is this something that you are, not you as an individual, but are the Vietnamese families that are here on the island buying these and renting these? Is this something that the Vietnamese that are here are bringing in family? They're going to be purchasing and renting here? What is it? I mean, you're advocating from the start the Vietnamese, and I appreciate that. What's the connection? Why is that your presentation and the term the group? Give me more information to explain that. Because right now, it sounds like to me that it just sounds, I don't have the answer to what
Right. So really, you have a large Vietnamese community that have invested into this vision, basically, of Pham Island, and their intentions are to use this as their vacation homes. So their intentions are to use this as their vacation homes. They live all over the country. So you have numerous families, and I know that there will be available spaces for this community.
I'm going to speak here because I am Vietnamese, and I have lived here for a while now. I know the community here. My understanding is investors are not from this island. They are outside investors coming in, which I do welcome. Outside people, not all of us are from here. If they continue to contribute to our community, which I really question, how can they if they don't live here full time? I know the owners of the Vang Farm who've been here 30 plus years, who were like the founding staples of the Vietnamese farming community, who came here, built his house from scratch and created a farm. I don't know if these investors would do the same, as I've done a bit of research and they look like pharmacists, bankers, investors, insurance agents, and I just really do question their contribution to our community, what this will do for our community. Again, I do welcome people who come here with the same intentions, but understanding what Pine Island is about and how we can want to maintain our rural agricultural area and the environmental impact to this community is very important, and I don't see that here with the Dun City, honestly.
So I know the owner, one of the owners, Stephen. He does have investments here already. So he is part of this community already.
Investing doesn't mean living.
No. But it is I'm a native of Washington. I grew up in Idaho, and my roots are still back in Washington and Idaho. I love it here. Just because you're not here full time doesn't mean that you don't have an interest in this. Matter of fact, I think if you look at the intentions here, the intentions is to create a community of people that can thrive together. I honestly believe that, and if you look at the type of people that you're bringing in here, these are quality people. These are really quality people. I can tell you that right now, and I can tell you firsthand. I've been to their homes. I've traveled to Vietnam with them. I know these people. These are wonderful, hardworking people.
So I think it's less about the people than it is about the development and what it does to our community. So you can sit here and look, there's good people all around. This isn't about the people. This is about what this effect is going to have on our community. And the density is just too deep. It's 2.7 units per acre. That's 13.7 acres. I'll have to look into this rural development that this gentleman was talking about, which allows up to 6 units per acre. And we'll deal with that because I wasn't real convinced when I talked to Ruan about the 2005 plan and then the hurricane hit about the entrance and exits off the island. When I met with him and talked to him about the entrance and exit off the island, and they changed the plan to, if we can't get off the island in 18 hours, we'll look at other measures. Couldn't get on and off the island for 2.5 weeks. Thank God that we were able to get in and out after that. But I'm still trying to meet with him to find out what's the other measures they're going to look at, because it's easy to say, but here's a plan that's going to provide an open door to expand density on this island, and I oppose it.
But as far as the egress in and out of here, if you look at all of the work that they've done, I think if you, I mean, so
It
that,
didn't
no,
add
hold on, hold on.
It didn't add capacity.
No, I know, but the reality is the likelihood of the road washing out like it did, nobody could have accounted for that hurricane like it. There's just no way. I mean, I was here. I literally, I was praying. We all prayed. I was here. I was part of that. So if you see what they've done, hopefully we never experience anything like that in our lifetime again. So, and I don't think that will happen.
Well, we're here too, and I can tell you that ain't the only section that failed. The bottom line is the density back in the original Pine Island plan was 895 ADT a day at peak rush hour. Now they've just taken that away. There was no developments once that original Pine Island plan was introduced. And so they've amended it in 2005 and allowed this 2.7, and now you've got this monstrosity going in, and it's just, I think we need to let our county commissioners know this is not acceptable.
Okay. I'm just having a little trouble understanding this project. So basically, this investor group, they would buy individual plots, put up whatever they could get permitted, and you said this is going to be second homes for most of these people. Are you planning amenities, or are they just going to have that big lake in the middle? Or I just don't have much of a concept of what you're trying to do here.
I kind of glossed over that during the presentation, but there is an amenity area. If you look at the plan on the screen, on the southwest corner of the residential parcel, there's an amenity area. It's kind of hard to read, but it is an amenity area planned. Yes, ma'am.
Could
People just buy their individual lots and put up whatever kind of home they want?
It's conventionally single family and duplex. They can build a single family home just like any other subdivision.
if I can have my slide put on the original presentation when I've had introduced, I'd appreciate it. There we go. I pulled this slide off of the Facebook page for the perspective build. And in the front half of the area, the commercial area, this is their dream idea, having this type of, could you tell us what these are? Because it looks like from here over to the left, or to my right where I'm standing, that's going to be more places to rent. So there's going to be hotel rooms, motel rooms possibly. There's going to be a bar facility, and a plaza without really knowing what would be in this plaza. So this isn't just about homes. This is also, full-time homes, part-time homes, rental homes, B&B homes, whatever it may be, tourist reasons. It's also what you're going to be building in the front of it that's also going to be of concern.
I've never seen that. I don't know Vin, can you answer that question?
My name is Vin Gwynn. I'm actually originally from Ohio. I'm one of the part of the working committees of this project. That was the original plan that we built the front where the commercial is going to be have more like community type of activities, like a market for the communities, and also for like activity for the community only. That was originally that we envisioned that's going to be our plan. But as Dean said, right now we have no plan for commercials for the front. So that was just an idea that we came up with for the groups, that this might be good for community, that we have a center for them to use, and basically a lot of activities for the communities to use. Back to the questions that the ladies from Waukelia, she lives here, that she was wondering about the units, the 37 units. Like Lauren was mentioned, that most of us are removing the 20 units will be outside a lake. The 17 units is a duplex that we're gonna rent out, or whoever, maybe a vacation homes or whatever. But originally, these original owners will move to Pine Islands. That's the whole plan. So it's not all is vacation homes. So we're in the process of doing it so they can actually move to those 20 units, the single homes. The duplex is going to be more like rentals or some types of, somebody can buy or whatever, where there's plans coming up. But our main goals right now is just the 37 homes that we're going to be working on. The commercials we haven't touched. Like Dee and I was working on that, and we might sell it just for that purpose. But to answer your question, the original plan was to have a community centers for the community to use.
Hi, I'm just hoping to hear what was the wildlife study result, please?
Sure, there's a little pocket of wetlands. Can you bring the aerial up? I think it's the first slide. It's hard to see, kind of in the middle to the south part, you can see a little wetland there. If it was in a corner, a pocket corner, we could have saved it, but it's kind of very obtrusive to try to save that, and it's very isolated, so we are going to mitigate that off-site. I believe there was two gopher tortoise burrows that we're also going to mitigate off-site. No eagles there.
Now, when was the animal life review done? Was that during season for the eagles?
It was done, I don't have that information in front of me.
I do know that anytime that there's a nest found, any type of build process will be pretty much shelved until the nests are vacant. So we just ran into that on a home that we're building in Burnt Store Road. So we had to hold off because there was a nest within the vicinity. So any type of eagle, hawk, or nesting of any type, that will have to be mitigated. So again, I don't have the particular information on that, but it's all would be per the requirements.
Yeah.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Kelly. Thank you, everybody, to come in here. I come from Cape Coral. I come here to support the project. from the Vietnamese people. I know a little bit about this project, and I come to show my support. When I first heard about it, I was so excited, so happy, because I love Pine Island so much. I come to Pine Island 3 times a week to visit the fruitlands. I have a lot of friends and family, close friends, that own 10 acres, 20 acres of fruit. And we love fruit, and we are regionally farmers. So we come in here and we enjoy the fresh, organic fruit all the time. So when I hear about this project, I was so happy, because I planned and dreamed that I'm gonna buy one of the lot there to bring my mom from Maryland to come here and retire here, because she loved the weather here. It's just exactly like Vietnam. So I come here and I try to show my support, and I hope that you can see it doesn't damage, what should I say, the community at all. It's actually bringing some benefit, because we are the people that love peace and more like farmer. We love to live in a peaceful area, quiet, peaceful, surrounding by nature. It's the best place for me, for my family, for my mom to come and retire. I believe so. So I hope that it can successfully build, and I can have a dream place for my mom. When you have a project going to your city, I hope that the value of your real estate will go up. I believe so. And I think that's at least the first benefit that this project gonna bring to everybody. Yeah, I hope you all welcome it.
And again, Julie Roberts. I'm in Bokeelia. And there's a lot of lots if you want to bring the families here to build homes on. In Bokeelia, already, ready for them. You come here and you love the farms and the fruit, but you want to take 20 acres of ag land and develop it. That's not what we want here. Go out to Kramer Avocado Estates. There's tons of lots out there, half-acre lots. Sorry.
Let me respond to that, please. To be clear, this is not ag land. This is zoned commercial in the front, residential in the back. It's not, we're not asking to rezone it.
Hi, I'm Mary Suzuki, Bokeelia. I've been here since 1978. Been here for 2 years, so there's a considerable difference in your outlook. And first of all, it's Hurricane Ian, not Ian. And so we all did suffer. We were all here. But the biggest impact I'm sidestepping myself. I love your little love story. It's, it's great. Whether you were Vietnamese, maybe you're married to Kelly, I don't know. Maybe you have a development on Burnt Store Road, maybe you all do, which is great. But it's a love story. Let's talk about people from the Ukraine or anywhere else. It's not about you people, or I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say you people, but Vietnamese people. It's development. It's more people on the island. In 1980, we made a t-shirt called Save Florida, Plant a Developer. And that's where we started to institute rules and regulations about development. If you guys are legal, you're legal. So, that's kind of like a done deal. So the other issue is you are not selling the property or possibly you're selling the property up front. Who's going to buy that? You got half your property is residential, and then the other half is commercial. So who's to say what's going to happen that if you get this instituted? I say, you guys are developers, that's what you are. So don't coat it over with anything else.
Ma'am, I'm not a developer. I'm a human, and I can, and I know it's Ian, not Ian. So I don't know No, I didn't say. I said Ian. I was here. To answer your question, I'm not a developer, okay? No, you know what I am? I'm actually a very good friend of the people that want to help develop this community. And these are really good. No, hold on. You asked me a question. You want me to answer this. I'm telling you from my heart, I am not a developer. I'm here to let you know that there is a personal side to these people that you're not going to get. You're not going to get that with a big conglomerate group. This is not what we're talking about here. Just to be clear, okay? These are hardworking people, okay?
It's the amount of density.
Robert Ballard, Bokeelia native. Been on this island a long time, and I watched all this stuff go on for many years, and I've watched all these palm farms go in, and people want to change the name of Pine Island to Palm Island, and it really irritates the crap out of me. And what I'm seeing right now is this development going on next to another, 90-some house development next door to it behind Power Corporation. 32 houses up in Bokeelia, by where I live at, Bokeelia. Another, 50-some in St. James. These little subdivisions going on here, more development going on the island. We got one way in, one way out. If you don't know what's going on, I'll tell you what's going on. All these developments start getting developed here. The county is going to say, oh, we have to build another bridge. We have no choice. We have to build another bridge. Then what happens to this island? Kiss it goodbye. It's gone. As soon as you put another bridge across this island is gone. Palm farms are going to sell out. Everything's going to be gone. You're going to see all these developments going on. Every one of these palm farms are going to be turned into one of these developments. It's got to stop someplace. It's got to stop now, or else we're not going to have an island.
Hello, Linda Overbaugh, Bokeelia. My question is, I'm looking at your design that you have up there, and there doesn't seem to be any open space or green space in this, which is actually part of the Pine Island plan. So I'm wondering where you're planning to put your green spaces, first of all. Secondly, there are currently 5 developments already in the works with 402 units coming. There are, right now, 486 houses for sale in Bokeelia, or in Pine Island, I'm sorry. That's not including lots, etc. There are 4 new houses in my neighborhood that have sat empty for nearly 8 months now because no one's buying them. And I understand you already have buyers for these, but we're facing a really big housing crisis here, and we would hate to see even more housing come and maybe be empty. So my question is, where are your green spaces that I'm not seeing on your plan?
Can you bring up northwest corner, you see an L-shaped tract. That's indigenous open space. That's part of the plat. It's
in the
correct.
Commercial area?
It's the north end of the commercial.
Did you hear that? She said it's, what was that number again?
50% green space, open space.
50% to 70% for that green space for that amount of area. So are you saying that's incorrect, or?
I think that's incorrect. That's not what we did for the plan, and that's not what Lee County is asking for.
The problem is they can count the yards as open space, they can count the lake as open space, and they can count that buffer as open space and green space. So it's not like a 50% parkland, because the code allows for yards, swales, and any green space to be counted as part of their open space. So it's a misnomer that 50% is going to be a 50% open space park.
It comes down to impervious surface.
Correct.
Dan Kalinowski, Bokeelia again. You say single-family home sites. Are these mobile home sites, or are they structurally built homes?
Structurally built.
I'm sorry?
Structurally built homes, no mobile homes.
Stilt homes?
Yeah, I brought that up, that there would be no manufactured homes.
In fact, we're not really zoned for mobile homes. We have to have single family or duplexes.
No.
We can't do mobile homes here.
I didn't see that there was any plan for modulars.
What's the hurricane or the FEMA flood zoning for this site where the houses are?
It's an AE zone. I forget the exact elevations, either 9 or 10. So we'll have our houses a foot above that.
Okay, so they're all going to be 10 or 11 feet up above.
Mm-hmm.
Could you please give a synopsis of what the county did say when you first submitted the plan? What their, critical points were that were not good?
That's a good question. There were no red flags to put a stop to what the vision is on the screen. There's generic questions about utilities, utilities each lot, proven my pipes are sized correctly, mostly engineering stuff. It was really nothing. I mean, they did have some environmental questions about the wetland that we're mitigating and the gopher tortoises. There was nothing mentioned about eagles or hawks or anything like that. So, but it was mostly engineering. Nothing from traffic either. So.
So, go ahead.
My name is Ray Zimmerman, and I live in St. James City. I look at this, and I wonder where the cars get parked. I wonder how a community like that is as dense as it appears to be will hold up with climate change in 2 or 3 or 4 years. I look at the frequency of hurricanes we've had in this area and the number of evacuations that we've had in the past 10 years that I've lived here, and the storms are worse, the rain is worse, and they come more frequently. I don't have any problem with the intended group of individuals that this area will be marketed to, but I really wonder how it can work and hold together over the near future.
You know, when we think about what this community can look like in the future, there's no guarantees. I can tell you, I do pray that we don't suffer another hurricane like Ian. I've been through a lot as far as hurricanes, well, not hurricanes, but basic earthquakes, and I've been through a mudslide, and when I see the impact that the hurricane, it profoundly changed me. I will tell you, I don't think they did us any favors by the way they categorized it as well. I think that if you look at the wind that hit us, it didn't help us with our insurances. I know with the Pine Island Paradise Resort, the insurance, they really did a fast one on us. So I am part of this community, and I will continue to be part of this community. I will be part of this community till I die. I will continue to support the community. I will do volunteer work, and I want you to know that you're going to get a pretty good person here. Okay. Thank you.
Hi, Mary Suzuki. I have two questions. First one I'm going to repeat. Are you kidding me? The second question is, are you guys coming back to represent because you appear to be woefully unprepared?
Yeah, a little bit unprepared. That's true. And no, I'm not kidding you. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so I have
That's too bad.
I have I think the final question has to be you had to come here to present. That means you're asking Lee County for something that wouldn't typically fit in that category. Then what is the...
We're here for a public information meeting to show you what we're doing for our development order. We're not asking for anything.
No, we just...
Okay.
Information. I mean, you're owed the information, right?
So that you're not going to be...
It's already zoned for what we're asking for, yes. This is a public information meeting to give you information. If you have any constructive criticism or ways we can make it better, that's what we're here for. It's going to get built, but we're here to get...
So what's your next steps at this point after this meeting?
We're going to finish the DO and we're going to start building the road.
So the developmental order, do you have to go to a HEX hearing or anything?
No.
No hearings?
No hearings. It's been zoned for a long time. No. It's been zoned. The DO has not been approved.
DO is developmental order.
There's no meetings for development orders. The meetings are for zoning, and zoning's it's already been zoned.
So if our community wishes, I believe they can contact the county.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know which person at the county at the developmental order? Yeah, the staff name.
Call it Odette Kleinman.
Odette Kleinman?
Odette, O-H-D-E-T.
Okay.
So, real quick, and I don't have a mic, I'll try to talk loud. So you're telling me that your plat's already been approved? Your preliminary plat, or your plat's been approved?
Plat's not been approved. Plat has not been approved.
Your dedications, your easements, none of that's been approved at this point?
Correct.
Okay, that's where you can interject some thoughts.
So I just want to make one comment. It's Steve Eldridge. This is supposed to be a public information meeting. And I'm just going to offer up that you haven't supplied sufficient public information in an organized format. And so if there's some little box that you tick off that says you did this, I'm going to suggest you shouldn't get to tick off that box because there's just not been enough complete information. I think the guy back here, actually, did I hear him say that of the 37 units, 20 of them were going to be single-family homes and 17 of them were going to be duplexes? Well, I think that's completely different from how we started, which was there are a couple duplexes in the back, and it's all single-family homes. So you guys have actually, in my estimation, given us misinformation. So I would strongly advise you that you should come back and you should represent with the people who are at the lead of this project, not a friend of the people or an engineer that can actually answer questions exactly and specifically. And I'll leave it at that.
I definitely appreciate the information, and I do wish that Stephen could have been here. Unfortunately, time constraints and other things that come up, life happens. And I do apologize for not having more adequate questions for you. But this is an ongoing process, so you're all going to have an opportunity. So I would like to just kind of put a human face to this, though. Okay.
I just wanted to say one thing, just so the public knows, they do get to check the box. You need to get involved with the county commissions and actually see what the process is. Each one of these developments usually has a number, and then you find out from the agenda in the city council when that number is coming up. And you can go to these meetings, you can fill out a form. I forget, I'm just now learning. Right, and I was looking at it today, so I don't know all the names of the applications, but you can't actually physically talk at these meetings unless you fill out this form and go to the meetings. So this is just them checking the box. you have to get involved with the city council and what they're doing and their needs. No, we don't need to incorporate. We don't need more bureaucracy. But anyway, yeah, you need to really get educated in how this is all politics.
Yeah. If I can have my last slide brought up. Thank you for presenting and listening to us. Yeah. Can you go ahead and go to the next one? I'm going to skip this one for now. Whoop. Is there a slide in there that says thinks instead of things? There we go. Thinks to know should be things. Sorry. So the first presenter was a zoning change. So in a zoning change, we can't actually speak to our county commissioners. There's a process that you have to follow if you want to present and speak to the hearing officer. You do have to attend in person, and then you can actually speak with the commissioners at the time of the hearing. They hear it. Unfortunately, on that particular first one, we cannot talk to our county commissioners about it because it's written in the law that way. Now, the second one is not 100% sure, me personally, of exactly why they had to check this particular box off. Usually there's an ask for them to do this. That one we can talk to our commissioners about. Ruane is our direct commissioner, but keep in mind that all of the commissioners represent us. We, as in Lee County, we vote to bring in all the commissioners, not just Ruane. Yeah, thank you. So, there more than likely is. I'm not aware of what number it is. And you can call the county, the Developmental Order Department. Was it Odette Claim you mentioned? She is the individual who works for the county who is reviewing the whole project and approving and disapproving it. Okay? It might be Claim. Yeah, but it's definitely Odette. And everyone, all the developmental orders and all the planners and all that is on the county's website, so we can trickle down and find Odette, and it'll have her email and her phone number. That's all public on their website. So if anybody is still needing help with Ian, I do have that one slide that has information that you can contact through the Beacon of Hope. Is doing quite a bit for the island for those that need it. There's also a talking group for those who need to still talk through the devastation of Ian. And the Greater Pine Island Alliance has a group that's going with that one. I can't explain too much on that one. They are trying to help rebuild the island. They're a resource, and they have a public meeting once a month, and I believe it's also on their website. So. No, yeah, there's.
If you go to the Lee County Community Development Department page, there's a staff directory. If you look on the right-hand side of the page, it says staff directory, and you can find out a listing of individual staff members who work within that department.
There's also, if you don't have the number or the name of a person, you can send it to their general question, and then they will get you to the correct employee that's overseeing the paperwork. Thank you. Oh. Okay. Thank you. Sorry. All right. So Well, that's the next thing that we're going to talk about is we needed to get a vote on the floor of the community on how they feel about both of the developments. And
So
if
anybody here in support of the Carriage Club development? The parking area, the first one.
we have one.
So one yes vote, and what about 2 yes votes?
This is at large, you know, everyone.
Take a straw poll and basically give that information to the county, saying how many people supported or didn't support.
You're allowed. And for the second, for the Stringfellow Road on the 11010, the FAM. Okay, 1 yay.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, then
All right.
I guess that, any other business?
Nope. Do we have a motion? Oh, what's next month? Thank you. The very last slide. So next month, we're going to have the Florida League of Cities do a presentation, an informational session to let us know how to become incorporated if individuals wish to do that. And so we're bringing it in for a talk.
Who's coming to the league? Do you know?
Lynn Tipton. She'll talk about the process.
Yeah, the process.
So how much money a community has to raise, how, what kind of human capital it costs. What's that? So that's our December 5th meeting at 6:30.
Yes. Do I have a motion to adjourn? Yes. And we got a second? By several? All right, thank you. I assume there is no nays. Okay, thank you. The motion carries. Thank you for coming, and I hope to see you next month. That's the idea, to keep it mellow. Thank you.
Absolutely. I'm trying to get all mine. So I've been the city manager. I just retired from Sebastian, so I come over here every weekend. She's the city clerk for Fort Myers. And so I'm selling my house over there. We own Pine Island Spice Company. Just started the food trailer, so we're going to be at the Stone Crab. But I've got to get involved, especially with the incorporation conversation, because both of us were involved in Wellington Incorporated in